Hello and welcome to the 10th Champions for Equity Awards. The program will begin in 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes. Please grab a drink and get some food and find your seats. Thank you. I'm so glad you're all having such a great time. The program will begin at 3:50, and I don't want you to miss a second of it. Please take your seats. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on this lovely, warm, sunny afternoon. In just a few seconds, the program will begin. Please find your seats. The program will begin in a few seconds. Thank you.
If we're only concerned about the injustices that we feel in our community, we cannot build that network of mutuality. We have to be able to educate our own communities on what's going on in other communities.
It's power building. It's shifting power. It's giving that power to the voiceless, to those groups that don't necessarily have the access to open those doors.
I want to encourage us to be bold and not settle for small incremental change. I think our next frontier is to not just fight for what we can get, what we think we can win, but really fight for what we know we need and the world that we want.
That is why the work of AP, getting out data, designing good policy, and communicating truthfully what works, is more crucial than ever. While research is important, at the end of the day, it is power and organizing that really move policy.
Each morning find us courageous, brought closer, seeking the light before the fight is over. When this ends, we'll smile sweetly, finally seeing. In testing times, we became the best of beings.
My mom was like, Nena, please tell these Catalyst people that I said that what they're doing is life-saving work.
Who's got the power? We got the power! What kind of power? People power! And one more thing, let's just say for Catalyst California, with their new name and their new horizons that they're going to reach, and all of us working together, let's say one big viva for Catalyst California. Que viva Catalyst California! Viva! Que viva Catalyst California! Viva! All right, muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Hello, Catalyst for California. Hola, I'm so happy to be here. My name is Jessica Salgado, and I want to welcome you to the 10th Champions for Equity Awards. I can't remember the last time I've done something 10 years in a row, let alone raise something that's 10 years old. So congratulations to the folks that put this on. I'm so happy to be your MC this year because, one, I love Catalyst for California. The entire team is lovely. I feel like I get to see some of my favorite people while I'm working. And I've had the good fortune of hosting another event, State of the State. And then last year, I was at this same ceremony as a presenter for my good friend, Gabby Rivera. So next year, maybe I'll be on the payroll and we'll see what happens. No, I am a poet before that, above all, but I'm so excited to be able to MC this. We have a full and beautiful house today, so give an applause for yourselves for coming out on a Sunday afternoon to this beautiful, Sunday, California afternoon. We brought out the Hollywood sign just for you, so please enjoy it. We also have some folks watching us through the live stream, so go ahead and wave at the camera right behind us. Get your couple of seconds of fame. And again, this is the 10th anniversary of this event, and wasn't the video that we watched great? Some of the people you saw in the video have also been featured in the event graphic, which you're seeing right now. It was Stuart Crow, longtime AAPI civil rights leader, Karen Bass, our super awesome community organizer, legislator, and now our mayor. Dr. Manuel Pastor, academic extraordinaire and community advocate. Sheila Kuehl, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. My accent gets in the way, but she is a child actor, state legislator, county supervisor, and political guru. And of course, my dear friend, amazing Amanda Gorman. She set the tone for a 2020 event with a magical poem that captured the surreal feelings of living through a pandemic and racial justice uprising. Quite an impressive set of folks who have graced this stage over the years. Let's give them a round of applause. So this year's theme is celebrating solidarity for 10 years. And the people I just named exemplify solidarity and how to live it in your work, in your art, and in your life. And for me, solidarity, well, it means a lot of things, but I think the biggest thing that it means for me is to show up for folks, not because of what they can do for me, not because I know them and I love them, but just because of the fact that they are humans and they deserve my compassion, my solidarity, and my search for justice for them. And I hope that we are here all united under that same thought. I'm so glad that we're all here today in solidarity to one another on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. I was at a quinceañera yesterday, and I woke up today and I was just like, I gotta get it together, because I'm Salvadoran. Are any Salvadorans here? 2 of us. Doesn't really have 3 of us. Great. If you went to my family party, you'd be like, there's like the entire population of the world is Salvadorans, because there were like 100 of us for a small gathering. But I'm so glad to be here, and our program today is going to be super fantastic. I'm going to try to keep us rolling and kind of pepper in some laughter along the way. We're going to be honoring 3 entirely deserving people who are making LA and California better and who have dedicated their lives to that. So please, let's give them a round of applause. And also, I want to shout out my new homies, the ASL interpreters. Please give them a round of applause. Caitlin Brode and Shannon Wilson. This is a fundraising event. You're not just here for fun. You're here for funding. See? I'm a wordsmith. So let's give it up for the sponsors who generously supported, very generously supported. Let's give them a round of applause. And you can see their names on the screen. The host committee for today's festivity worked hard to help meet that goal. And you may be wondering what those cute fans are doing on your tables. It might get warm today, so you might use them, or you might want to be like Beyonce. Who went to see Beyonce? So she trained us on the whole how to use a fan, right? So you know what to do, but there's also a QR code to donate to Catalyst California on there, and you will be needing it a little bit later in the program, but you can donate at any time that you want, any amount that you want. Please don't feel modest. Add as many zeros in it as you want. I'll personally give you a hug. Maybe. But on the to donate, there will be a QR code on your screen. On the right is a short link for you to view the tribute journal to save trees and money. We've gone digital this year. For our live stream audience, that short link is under your live stream view, and our chat host will share it with you. Now, it's time to launch the show. Are y'all ready? So we're gonna have 2 short videos about the work of Catalyst California. Enjoy.
The leaked audio of council members Martinez, De Leon, and Cedillo revealed more than the racist attitudes of those elected to represent us. It exposed inequities in how city government operates, where self-interest and political power struggles overshadow the needs of residents. In surveying more than 1,000 residents last spring, we found deep concerns about how effectively the city council represents the community and addresses their needs. These concerns are even stronger when we look at the perspectives of communities of color. When asked how well LA City Council takes action on your needs, a majority of 59% of Black residents said City Council does this not at all, only a little, compared to just 35% of white residents. These concerns reveal structural flaws baked into our system of governments that have a profound influence on who gets elected and whose needs are addressed. While political and civic leaders involved in the scandal must be held accountable, Inter-community healing and a more equitable future will require more than just resignations.
A new vision of city governance is needed, and that vision needs to be rooted and shaped by the perspectives of Black and Indigenous people of color and low-income Angelenos to ensure it addresses their needs. That is why we formed RLA, a multiracial, multi-generational, and intersectional coalition of community-based organizations and racial justice advocates committed to community voice, multiracial solidarity, power building, racial equity, structural reform, and transparency. California Native Vote Project joined the leadership group of RLA because American Indian and Alaska Native have been on the menu and not at the table in decision-making. With 1 million natives in LA, we want to have a voice in the way we live and make decisions over our own lives. In collaboration with residents, RLA is working to realize this vision, advance a community-based reform agenda for the city of Los Angeles. The City Council is currently exploring governance reform, and we hope to bring it to the ballot in 2024.
And again, to the question of Councilmember Hernandez, do you want more representation? Do you want more services? Do you want more? What is it that you really want at the end of the day? And I would say for community, it's all of the above.
We encourage you to visit us at rla.org to learn more and get involved.
Equity Needs Index, also known as CENI. It is a research-based equity index implemented by the Los Angeles Unified School District, or LAUSD, and it uses comprehensive academic, non-academic, and community-based indicators to rank schools from highest to lowest according to student need. With these rankings, LAUSD can more accurately understand the needs of its schools to equitably distribute funds. The CENI was created in partnership between the district, students, families, community members, and the Equity Alliance, which today is comprised of Catalyst California, Community Coalition, Inner City Struggle, and the Partnership for LA Schools. Centering justice and equity, the CENI accounts for issues that disproportionately impact Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities through its unique indicators. These indicators allow LAUSD to identify where funding should be directed to make the most significant and equitable impact in our schools. This month, 2 years ago, LAUSD passed the Equity is Justice 2021 resolution. This critical win reaffirmed the district's support for the CENI and invested $700 million to be allocated through the index each year thereafter, which allows LAUSD to deepen equity and help close opportunity gaps for its students and families. Since the resolution, the CENI has deepened racial equity in LAUSD also as a tool to understand where to prioritize district resources broadly. Some examples include when LAUSD used CENI to identify areas to set up grab-and-go centers that provided food to families during the pandemic, helped determine staffing priorities in response to recovery needs and staffing challenges, and aid in selecting where to focus efforts to build community schools. Want to learn more? Check out our website where we have newly launched a CENI webpage where you can dive deeper into CENI's story, methodology, impact, and more.
I feel very Vanna White coming in and out. A dream come true, really. Such important work was highlighted in these videos, especially in the face of what we see happening in our city council and the right-wing attacks on public education. It's now time for our first award. Are y'all ready? You have to understand, a lot of these folks have been doing really important work for a long, long time. And so to get an award today is not something that happens to them every day, and it's a really special highlight, and I feel that we are privileged to witness that. And so I want you now to please welcome for the Advancing Justice Award, Hal Ruddick for the State Alliance of Healthcare Unions to the stage. Hal has more than 35 years of labor leadership. In 2021, he worked with Kaiser employees for fair wages and benefits and continues to monitor those wins. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you so much. And it's the right one, yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Hal Ruddick, and I'm the Executive Director of the Alliance of Healthcare Unions, a federation of 21 local unions representing Kaiser Permanente employees across the country, including 34,000 nurses and other caregivers here in Southern California. I am so honored to present this award to Max Arias. I have known, worked with, and admired Max for 20 years. I first worked with Max in Chicago shortly after he began his union organizing career. Our assignment was challenging: transform a local union of nursing home workers from a complacent and weak organization into a powerful fighting force, and Max threw himself wholeheartedly into that fight. From the first days we worked together, I noted his passion, his empathy, and his deep commitment. I think a lot of that strength comes from his background. Max's father was an important leader in the justice struggle in El Salvador, and Max's family arrived in the United States as refugees seeking political asylum. Max has always had a deep commitment to the leadership of others and faith in the ability of working people to stand up and fight together. The recent LA Unified strike by 30,000 education workers caught the attention of all Los Angeles and became part of a national narrative of labor resurgence. That victory transformed the lives of thousands of LA's poorest paid workers with a 30% raise, more full-time hours, expanded health care, additional staffing, and more. Along with the economic gains, Local 99's united action gave a new sense of power and respect to a workforce too long overlooked, a workforce overwhelmingly made up of women of color. The word historic is often overused, but this was truly historic. Victories like that don't just happen spontaneously. They take years of hard and often unrecognized work to create the groundwork, empower others, and build community alliances. In 2015, when Max became the executive director of Local 99, it would have been hard to imagine the union pulling off such a success. But over 8 years, he rebuilt the union, developed leaders, and forged alliances, including a strong partnership with the United Teachers of LA. Max knows that being a leader is about empowering others, and he has created a strong team, including his chief of staff, Pam Stevenson, a rank-and-file healthcare worker who has been at Max's side throughout these 8 years. So his accomplishments at LAUSD alone are more than enough to justify this award. But incredibly, in the same year, in the space of actually just a few months, Max led a second transformative negotiation on behalf of childcare workers across California in partnership with AFSCME and SEIU 5-1. Childcare providers won their largest rate increase ever and $80 million a year for a new retirement fund. The childcare workforce is 70% people of color, 42% born in another country. Only 22% of these workers had any retirement savings at all, and prior to these negotiations, they had no retirement benefit from their work. These changes will improve child care providers' lives and also improve options for parents, especially for Black and Latino families living in child care deserts. In just 1 year, these two victories changed the lives of tens of thousands of low-wage workers and improved critical community services. So many labor leaders would consider just one of these victories to be the highlight of their career. And Max did 2 in 1 year. I can't wait to see what he accomplishes next. And now I'm so honored to present the Advancing Justice Award to Max Arias.
Thank you, Hal. I remember when Hal hired me, and the first time the police was calling me because I wouldn't leave a nursing home, and I was so worried about it. And he wouldn't pick up the phone, so I made a song about that moment. But I'm not going to sing it right now. Thank you, Hal, for taking a chance on me. And first, really, I want to celebrate. We have here Conrado, Miguel, Diana. If you could please stand up. Conrado Guerrero, president of Local 99, Miguel Morales, Jr., executive board member, and Elizabeth Thomas Parker was hiding over there, vice president at SAU Local 99. They are the workers that led this strike. And Diana Robles, family child care provider, they led the fight. That's what this fight is for. And who do you think they were fighting for? They were fighting for the kids to educate, and also the young adults to educate, because it's not all kids, right? From the cradle to higher ed. But I just wanted to take that moment, and I also wanted to celebrate here. We have my wife, Carolyn Conter. Really, it's cheesy. She's going to blush. She's going to say, why'd you do that? You're lucky I didn't sing a song for you. Pam Stevenson, and then Lester Garcia, who wasn't mentioned, political director of the local. I just wanted to mention it because it takes a team. You know, it's not like I got up when they say, hey, let's all strike, y'all. It did not happen. It will never happen. It takes a team, and a team that grows, that keeps growing. So, on behalf of 50,000 school service workers, custodians, bus drivers, special education assistants, childcare providers, and other essential education workers represented by SU Local 99, I am proud to accept this award. It is truly an honor to be recognized by Catalyst California, and our partnership with them has been important to SEIU Local 99. Actually, it's been crucial in our efforts to advance justice and equity in our communities and public schools. And as a labor union, our work centers on addressing poverty by fighting for jobs that pay living wages and provide families with healthcare and other basic benefits. But we know our vision cannot stop there. We are workers, but we're also educators. We're mothers and fathers. We are immigrants. We are active members of our communities. That is why our work is driven by a broader vision. We believe that excellent public schools are places where all students have to have access to a quality education, no matter where they live, where they come from, the color of their skin, or their abilities. We believe access to equitable education must extend from cradle, early education, to college. And we believe that you cannot have quality public education without good jobs for those who provide essential services to students and family. This spring, thousands of SAU Local 9 members, 30,000 of them, made a decision that we could not continue to fight for incremental change. We must start attacking and win systemic change if we are to see any changes. And fueled by the vision, 30,000 LAUSD workers went on strike, but they didn't do it alone. They were accompanied in solidarity by 35,000 teachers from United Teachers Los Angeles. And that 75,000 workers in the street, supported by parents and students, demanding better of public education, demanding clean, safe, supportive schools, demanding change, real change. It was a courageous act, but make no mistake, it was also a great sacrifice for workers living paycheck to paycheck and poverty workers. $25,000 a year was the average wage. 3 days of work sacrificed. They took this bold step, and this is a testament to their activism and to the long-standing inequity and injustice in our public schools. Despite being deemed essential workers, this mostly black and brown workforce earned wages below the poverty line, and they still do. It's not over. We're coming at it again next year. Right over there? Despite helping our most vulnerable children learn, their work was relegated to part-time status. Despite being central to the safety and security of our campuses, nearly 1/3 said they had been on the verge of losing their home or had lost housing while working for LAUSD. Enough is enough. For 3 days, workers set up picket lines under the drenching rain. At the core of their demands was a call for respect. Respect in the way they're treated, and respect also means dignified wages and good working conditions. We were strengthened by the solidarity of partners like, of course you heard UTLA, but also like Catalyst California. Through the Equity Alliance for LA's Kids, you, Catalyst, lifted up our voices. You were critical to helping our communities and elected officials understand that this was much more than a labor dispute. It was a demand to end poverty and systemic racism promoted by our public institutions. And together, we won a historic contract. You heard how. Included a 30% wage increase that begins to put school workers on a path out of poverty. It also gave healthcare benefits to thousands and thousands of workers that were excluded. Additional hours that are going to go to support students with special needs. One additional hour a day for 9,000 special ed assistants is 9,000 more hours a day to support children with special needs. So this strike was an expression of power, but it led to a contract with LAUSD that marked a significant move forward. But we're not done yet, because even as workers in LAUSD were on strike, we were also in negotiations with the state of California for a second contract for family childcare providers. This group of workers, a majority of them women, had fought for nearly 2 decades just to get the right to have a union. In one of the most egregious examples of injustice and inequity in our state, family childcare providers were excluded from collective bargaining laws. That's actually all over the country. But providers stood strong, and after a 20-year fight in 2019, Governor Newsom signed legislation granting them the right to collective bargaining. And in 2021, what was happening in 2021? Yep, we were in the middle of the pandemic. Providers were struggling. The only classroom setting open in this country was family childcare providers' homes, as they were caring for the children of essential workers and providing distance learning to around 12 kids, using 12 different computers. It is just really incredible what they did. Yet they were expected to do it alone. They won their union in the middle of the pandemic. 40,000 providers won their union in the middle of the pandemic. And then they headed to negotiations and won their first contract, which was historic. But this year, as providers headed into negotiations for their second contract, we knew it was an opportunity to make radical changes in the childcare industry. Again, it's about systemic change. How can we, through our union, drive to achieve systemic change? We knew providers were struggling to keep their doors open. We knew working parents were struggling to find quality, affordable care for their children. And we knew there were vast childcare deserts in communities struggling with poverty. Once again, providers and our community partners rose to the challenge. In particular, our collaboration with the Whole Child Equity Partnership, spearheaded by Catalyst California, elevated our demands for improving and expanding our state system for early care and education. Our efforts, our organizing, our activism, thousands and thousands of providers going to Sacramento, taking the Capitol and painting it yellow on one day, 5,000 providers over there, it paid off. And in June, we won providers won a historic contract that marks a significant turning point. Providers won provisions that will begin to stabilize their profession. In addition to pay rate increases, they will have access to health care benefits and a first of its kind in the nation retirement fund. But the biggest change, providers will have a voice in reforming the state's childcare rate system so that they will finally be paid for the actual cost of providing care. Right now, they're receiving from the state around 30% of what it costs to care for a child. The state says, here you go, 30%, you figure it out. That's why providers are struggling. That's why families are struggling. We cannot take our foot off the pedal. Is that the saying? Yeah, that's the saying, right? We need to keep pushing to ensure the state does what it's supposed to do, and it is enshrined in our contract that we'll be fighting. Continue to fight. As you can see, these things are just the beginning to continue to win for workers, because if not, we're going to get stagnated, and we're just going to go back, and we are not taking a step back. This has truly been a historic year. We are proud at our Local 99 of what we have accomplished. We are proud that family childcare providers helped elevate the national conversation about the need to radically transform our early care and education system. Normally, family childcare providers are invisible. They're invisible. Their voices are not heard. But guess what? They spoke loud. Now you better hear them. And that is what's happening. That's where we're seeing transformational change. We're proud that school workers have finally begun to be recognized for the contribution to student learning. Take a moment there. School workers that we represent. Without our members, the district does not wake up. There are no buses moving. There's no food for children. The classrooms are not clean. The teachers don't have support. There's no distribution. Nothing happens. However, they are completely undervalued and their voices are silent and they are invisible. But without them, education doesn't happen. So that is what we said. This is a fight for respect for our profession. Our members are human beings. They are human beings that are dedicated. They are parents, and they work hard day in and day out. And without them, education doesn't happen. And that's why I want to underscore. They are starting to be recognized for their contributions. And that is something that we need to keep pushing for, because we know that society will try to make them invisible again. And we're not going back, are we, y'all? No, we're not. We are proud we make significant inroads this year to interrupt poverty in our communities. And I think I lost my track. And I think I'm talking too much. So I'm going to stop talking here. I just say I really appreciate being here. Really appreciate working with Catalyst California. And many, many of you, I don't know, I'm sure out of here, because I see some faces, you were there in those picket lines in the rain. You were there in Sacramento. We were talking to the legislatures. We got to continue organizing. This today is about solidarity. Our members showed something in this strike. It was our members and UTLA that showed solidarity. Power in labor comes from our labor. We either give it or we willingly take it away. That is exactly the power that was shown. Why? To improve the schools. That is the basic tenet. So we all must continue to act in solidarity moving forward. And we need to continue to work hard, continue to organize everywhere we go, because when we fight, thank you.
Imagine a California where low-income people of color transform their neighborhoods, creating communities full of well-maintained parks, public transportation that goes where you need to go, fully funded schools and youth programs, and health and housing and other services that support people in need. Making this vision possible almost always means public dollars from city, county, and state governments. But when low-income communities of color approach their local governments, they're often told, there's just no more money for that. Really? That's where California's Equity and Community Investments team comes in. We work with community-based organizations and advocates to help residents understand public budgets. Public budgets are complicated documents. They're hard to read and hard to understand. And that's on purpose. Catalyst California dives deep into these budgets to find potential dollars and opportunities for investments. We train advocates and residents to demystify the budget process that often shuts them out. From South LA to the Central Valley, we help communities of color to understand how their local governments spend their money and to fight for the resources they need. All so they can create communities they deserve. Visit the link to learn more.
Have you ever wondered why the number of fatal car accidents continues to rise year after year in California, even though we spend billions of dollars annually on police and sheriffs? How about the fact that officers are far more likely to stop people of color for traffic violations, even though research shows that they are no more likely to violate traffic laws than white people? We live with these troubling outcomes because our approach to traffic safety is broken. At Catalyst California, we're partnering with communities to fix this. Imagine that instead of having an officer with a gun pull a person over for a broken taillight or outdated tags, we had unarmed community safety workers. And instead of giving people tickets, which have failed to decrease fatal car accidents over the course of time, we help drivers resolve traffic safety risks by giving them repair vouchers that they can take to local mechanics or referrals to DMV for free assistance. Imagine if, instead of spending billions of dollars on officers giving out these traffic tickets, we instead invested those funds in redesigning streets to make them safer. For families struggling to make ends meet, paying ballooning fees and fines on tickets can mean the difference between putting food on the table or paying for childcare. Solution-oriented investments, like building more stop signs, roundabouts, and clear street markings, along with other evidence-based alternatives, such as expanded and higher quality public transit, are necessary to put California on the right path. At Catalyst California, we're working with the Push LA Coalition and the Alliance for Community Transit to make this a reality. To learn more, visit the link to see our new series of reports on reimagining community safety that we produced with ACLU SoCal.
How rude. I'm very short. I am so pleased to be associated with this organization, the important policy and data analysis work we just saw, and Max, my paisano, right? Thank you so much for your work as an LAUSD kid, as a proud tia of a high school, middle school, and elementary school age kids. We were protesting along with the educators outside of Mediterranean School Elementary, which is the one that was with us. So I'm really, really, really grateful to have met you today and to see you get honored, because it directly impacts so many of us. And I am a proud LAUSD kid, so thank you. And also, speaking of labor that's offered, let's give a round of applause to our catering staff that is taking such good care of us today. They're working, and I really, really appreciate it. We appreciate it. And now we're gonna have something really cool. It says there's a really formal language here, but basically, are y'all ready to turn up? I had a glass of wine, and I'm feeling warm, so I've cut myself off. But I know some of y'all are ready to already a little lit, so please help me welcome the amazing Freedom Singers who are currently competing in America's Got Talent and have impressed the judges and show's audience with their vocal skills and obvious connection with one another. But more importantly, they are bringing visibility about the beauty and challenges of the lives of Los Angeles unhoused people through their artistry. Help me welcome the phenomenal, the amazing, the Freedom Singers to the stage. Please give them a round of applause.
Yo, wait a minute. We're at a Catalyst event, and it sounded like there was 3 people in the room. What's going on, everybody? We are LA. Y'all looking beautiful. I see you over there, Kevin. You got it going on. So, my name is Pete White, y'all, with the LA Community Action Network. And about 4 years ago, you know, we've been swinging and we've been fighting. And you know, Malcolm X said, we ain't gonna sing our way up to freedom, but we've been swinging for a long time. And we said, let's put some arts and culture in our theory of change. And let's see if we can punch up a little bit higher. And so 4 years ago, we started making movies. We wrote a couple of books. We started singing a bit. We wound up on TV. We wound up on America's Got Talent. And people say, why did y'all want to do that? We said, you know, 50 million viewers where we can tell our story about the struggle of Los Angeles is a great proposition. And being able to bring out our creative side is a whole nother thing. And so we're gonna give you all a couple of songs. We are the LA Cam Freedom Singers. If you know them, sing them. If you need a microphone, hop up on this stage, but only if you can harmonize. Are we ready, y'all?
Sometimes I feel like I don't have a partner. Sometimes I feel my only friend is the city I live in, that city of angels. Lonely as I am, together we cry. I don't ever want to the place I love. Take me all the way. Yeah. It's hard to believe that there's nobody out there. It's hard to believe that I'm all alone. At least I have her love. City, she loves me. Lonely as I am, together we cry. I don't ever wanna
The
feel
pain that hurt,
like I did
the
that day.
dawning,
Take me to the place I love.
Take me to the place.
Take me all the way. I don't ever wanna feel like I did that day. Take me to the place I love. Take me all the way. Will you take me all the
From left to right, my right, your left. We're not only the Freedom Singer singers, we're also the LA Can Freedom Singer Band. So we got Cassius Jazzman Paxton on drums and vocals. Y'all just don't see the drums today. We have Nick Hilbert over here on drums and bass and vocals. We have Monique Noel, my wife, on vocals and arrangement. We have the incredible Michaela Diet, arranger, vocalist, pianist. We got Stassi right here, piano, vocals, arranger, learning guitar. We got Natasha Truly Beats, a poet as well as a vocalist. We got Pancake, vocals, guitar, piano, arrangement. We got Pete, guitar, vocals, trumpet, you know, activist, organizer, and all of those other things. Can we do one more for y'all? Y'all sure? Cause you know, y'all was sitting there on that one, y'all was kind of looking. Some of y'all was clapping, but y'all need to raise your hands, y'all need to clap, y'all need to sway, y'all need to bring it into it with us. Is that all right? Is that all right? Cue track.
She calls out to the man on the street, "Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I'm nowhere to sleep. Is there somewhere you can tell me?" Oh, think twice. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice. Just another day for you. You and me in paradise.
She calls out to the man on the street. He can see she's been crying. She's got blisters on the soles of her feet. She can't walk, but she's trying. Oh, think twice. It's just another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice. It's just another day for you, you and me in paradise. Oh, Lord, is there nothing more anybody can do?
There must be something more
you can say. Oh, think twice. It's just another day for you
Thank you, Catalyst. Thank you so much.
All right, give yourselves a hand out there, amen. I see Supervisor Holly Mitchell there. Peace and blessing to you, all those out there. Well, hello, Natasha.
Hello, everybody.
And we're here to just recognize someone that's very important in this work. I've grown to know him, and this brother, like a brother from another mother, I know his mama. We got history, so Brother Pete White, what can we say about him, Natasha?
Brother P. White is a person, he's a leader. He is a person who motivates and inspires. He walks the walk. He doesn't just talk it. He's out there beating his feet to the street, helping uplift the community. He has so much love. He has showed me so much. I look up to him. He is my motivator. He inspires me, and it is my pleasure to present the Transformative Partner Award to my friend Pete White.
Stand on your feet, everybody. Pete White. Come on up, my brother. Yeah, y'all can take it. So this is a first. I ain't never sang and got an award at the same time. Only at a Catalyst event. I guess you gotta. Oh, the Grammys. That's right. There it is. Me and Holly, we doing it right here, y'all. I think first I wanna thank and acknowledge the Catalyst family, Aaron and John Kim and Allie and all of those who are putting in mad work every day. So I want y'all to give it up to them. I also want y'all to dig deep because this work is not easy and this work is not cheap, and those windfalls that we felt during the George Floyd rebellion and lots of guilt money was coming is not coming anymore. But the problems continue to grow, so please dig deep and support Catalyst and other organizations. The other thing, as I stand on this stage today, it's an emotional moment because I started this work behind this hotel. There was a church called the First Methodist Church. And for the old heads, I was a young organizer, but for the old heads, that's where most of the social justice organizations that are making a great impact actually were born. It was a church right around the corner from here. And on this lot that we stand, and when I think about transformation, there were residential hotels, and there were families, lots of families here that weren't included in the vision for LA Live, that weren't included in the vision for this beautiful site. And so when we think about transformation, we have to think not just about what we see, but where we come from. My grandmama said, "This is serious business and don't play with it." That was Mama Dolly. This is serious business that you can't play with. And so this award, I don't do this work for awards or recognition. This award goes to Natasha. This award goes to Pancake. This award goes to everyone who believed in a vision that an LA Can, an organization of those who many had forgotten and didn't think could build power, has kicked maximum butt in this city and continues to build. But it was Maya Angelou who reminds us, our ancestor, that there is nothing of note that is done by one person. And so we don't do any of this by ourselves. I look around the room and I see friends and more friends, and I'm saying we need to get real friendly in this time of trouble. We need to get real friendly, and we need to raise our voices for that which is right. We need to be the LA that we can dream of. That's what freedom singing is for us. That's what activism is for us. That's what organizing is for us. I saw my good friend Yvonne. I see my good friend Holly. I saw Margarita Ramirez, and someone was like, from Liberty Hill. I was like, yeah, you never really retire, but still out here doing that work. I see Cali Calls. I see the California Black Network. I see all of y'all. And I just encourage y'all to stand up. Speak louder. Speak our truth. Do more. And let's be that LA that allows us to say, we love LA. Can I get it right on, y'all? Can I get it right on, y'all? Well, we moving on. Dig deep. Yvonne Wheeler, I see you over there too. All power to the people, y'all. Peace.
Thank you, Pete White. And now, the chair of our board of directors, Fred Ali.
Hello, everyone, and how about another round of applause for Pete White and the Freedom Singers. Thank you so much, Pete. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight and supporting this incredibly important organization. It's really important, so thank you for being here. I am really honored to be the chair of Catalyst California, and before I go much farther, I want to acknowledge that we have a number of board members in the audience today. Maybe you can wave your hands. They're doing great work for this organization. I got to know Catalyst California first as a grant maker, and I just had a deep respect for their work. And now it's a real honor to get to know them in a much more direct way. And this is truly an important organization, as you all know, doing important work. And there's a guy here who is responsible for a lot of it, and that's John Kim. But before I go to John, I want to recognize the staff that sits behind him. It's really an incredible staff, and I want you all to be acknowledged. So as I said, it's been a real honor getting to know this organization in a much more direct way and realizing how much impact they're having in our communities. And it's real special to be able to work with a guy like John, who is so committed and so competent in everything he does. So it's my great honor to introduce my friend and colleague, John Kim.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. So thank you all for coming out to celebrate these amazing honorees and the amazing team at Catalyst California. Thanks to Fred and the board of directors for your extraordinary leadership and support. I also want to thank the amazing team at Catalyst who put this event together, this beautiful, beautiful event. Let's give it up for them. And of course, I always got to call out my partner in crime, our Executive Vice President, Wendy Killian. You know, as I prepared for the celebration, my heart was heavy with the violence we're seeing in the Middle East. As a peace-loving person, I'm horrified by the terrorist attacks of Hamas, but also horrified by the killing of innocent Palestinians and the manufactured humanitarian crisis in Gaza. As a father, thank you. As a father, I grieve with the family of Wadea al-Fayumi, the 6-year-old Palestinian boy stabbed to death right here in our own country. And as a multiracial organization in California, we call on all of our local leaders to act in support and safety for both our Muslim brothers and sisters and our Jewish family. So, given my somewhat nerdy persona. This may not come as a surprise to many of you, but I've long been interested in the game of chess. By the time our son Ellis was 4 or 5, I was able to get him into it as well, and he really liked the time together. He liked the challenge, but most of all, if you really ask him, what he really wanted was to beat his father. We played almost every Sunday. He didn't want me to take it easy on him, so I was consistently whooping him for about 2 years, but he kept on coming and he never gave up. One beautiful Sunday morning, the music was playing, the chessboard was out, and we were playing our normal game with the typical openings and tempo, but this time Ellis wasn't talking very much. He had methodically built his defense in the opening. He started taking key pieces and preparing a solid offense, and after a little while, I could see it. I saw it coming. And I yelled, "Oh crap!" And I yelled for Jungi and Naya to come join to see what was about to happen. And sure enough, he moved through his endgame, and boom, checkmate. He had finally beaten me. Yeah, I know. Sure enough, you know, just like I taught him, he looked me straight in the eyes, he reached out his hand, and he said, "Good game." And it was a triumphant moment for both of us. But after all the hooping and hollering and the dancing that he had, he actually said and looked at me, he's like, "Actually, I'm done now." He was done. No more chess. At least for a couple years, I could not get him to play chess with me again. Because you know what? He had bested his father. He had climbed his mountain, and he wanted to walk off the field while he was still up on top. Smart kid. It'll be now 8 years since I've taken leadership over the organization. On one hand, I could not be more proud. The extraordinary impact of our collective work with our rigorous research, we change how we understand and talk about the problems. With our policy campaigns, we change how systems work. And by working alongside and in service of our community organizing partners, we change altogether how power works. We do all of this with an atypical level of internal cohesion, integrity, and warmth amongst the staff and the board. And I absolutely love the external movement family all around us. It's one of the greatest things about my job is that we get to do this very hard work with some joy and sense of community. But lately, I do have to admit, I have been feeling a little unsettled, a little restless. Despite the work and the wins, despite the massive political shifts and the increased investments in equity, there's still too much to be done to make our wins truly felt on the ground. Don't get me wrong, we are not lighthearted people. We will not give up. But I often worry that we focus too much on just what's right in front of us. And I worry we often mistake urgency for strategy. Despite my son kicking my butt in chess, I still play quite a bit. The thing about chess is that it's actually 3 games in one, or at least 3 phases in one game. The opening, the middle game, and the end game. And for each phase, you have to adjust your sense of the board. You have to adjust your goals and your tactics. And obviously, the long storied history of California was filled with racial justice fights and fighters. But I think it's important to see the opening phase of our modern day racial justice movement starting in the 1980s and 90s. From the culmination of demographic and economic shifts, the emergence of progressive labor and community organizing, and the overreach of the right-wing anti-immigrant policies, and of course, the 1992 uprisings here in Los Angeles. Some of the movement and political leaders that moved us through this opening phase were a sight to behold. They did not have the level of resources, the size or ability of organizations that we have now, but they played this opening phase to perfection. They not only waged a solid defense and pushed back against the most regressive ideas of those times, but they also took critical space on the board by daring to fundamentally shift the political shape of this state. They set us up very well, and they'll long be known as the founders of the modern racial justice movement. I now believe, though, that we are squarely in the middle game, no longer in the opening. And I worry and I wonder, have we sufficiently shifted our thinking and our tactics? The thing about the middle game is that it's probably the most confusing part of any chess game, at least it is for me. You can no longer rely on standard by the book opening moves, but there's still a lot of clutter on the board. There are a lot of possible combinations and opportunities ahead of you, but you never know what your opposition is going to do. And what I'm starting to really understand about being in the middle game is that yesterday's tactics and political wisdom may no longer serve us as well. I'm also starting to see that we need to efficiently leverage all that's been built into new, bigger combinations of progressive power. And we need to start waging a much, much more rigorous, powerful offense. This is why, in conversation with our board of directors, our staff, and our external partners, we've launched into a process to collectively refresh our strategic thinking, to reassess our playbook, and to think through our next moves. Obviously, it's not going to be all offense all the time. We have a very well-funded strategic opposition that will continue to contest for power in the media, in the ballot, and into halls of power. But we should no longer be okay with low-hanging fruit. That part of the tree's all been picked by now. We need to go for the higher stuff. We need to have loftier goals. This is why it's so fitting that we're honoring the leaders that we are today. They have long track records, pushing the edge of the work and not settling for the easy stuff. When I first met Pete White, he pushed me hard. He pushed me very hard on how to move our own organizational agenda in alignment with and accountable to the rest of the movement ecology. I've also seen how strategically he's moved this city and indeed this country to see the humanity of the houseless and to push back against inhumane or tepid response to our very own manufactured crisis here in LA. Thank you. Let's get it up for Pete White. Max Arias once told me a story about how a lawnmower was stolen from his house. But instead of going out and buying a new lawnmower, he cut his own lawn by hand with a machete. That should speak to you about his grit and that he's not somebody to mess with. During the first months of the pandemic lockdown, while we were all quarantining safely in our homes, he and the extraordinary members of Local 99 stepped out into the uncertain. And they made sure that students and their families had enough to eat. The extraordinary win this year at LAUSD and statewide ensure that these members finally are properly honored and compensated for what they do every day for our students and young ones. Max, thank you. And nowadays, you know, you can, the elected officials have learned to talk a really good game about racial equity. The word equity is just about everywhere. You can hardly order lunch without having to use the word. But it's rare to find an elected official that not only has the courage, but the skill and the know-how to actualize it in systems. And Supervisor Holly Mitchell is a shining example of this. She worked with us and our partners to drive real equity into the county's budget by requiring $1.8 billion of federal ARPA funding to go to the highest need communities using a data index that we proposed. I'm confident in saying that it was the single largest equity investment we've seen at any local jurisdiction anywhere across this country. What's amazing is that if you ask her about this win, the first thing she'll say to you is, "What's next?" Congratulations to all of our honorees. It's indeed a heady time for our organization and for the movement. But what's really exciting, what I'm really looking forward to, is that final stage of the fight, what they call the end game. Not the Avengers movie, I'm still talking about chess. We don't know what it'll look like because it'll likely come after me and my compatriots have run our leg of the race. I keep thinking about that moment when Ellis finally beat me at chess. Obviously, it's a hard moment when you're outsmarted by a 7-year-old. But he earned it. He studied. He worked hard. He stayed committed. And as we move into this next phase of the fight, I'm excited to see that next generation of leaders, those that will move way beyond our own horizons. Hopefully, they will finish the job to finally move California to fulfill its promise, not as some sort of Shangri-La, but but as a place where we face our collective challenges without the burden of white supremacy and structural racism holding all of us back. And when those leaders look back at the work we do here today, my hope is that they will say that we did our job, that we stayed at the edge, that we kept pushing, and that we set them up very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John Kim. And now joining us on stage are Wendy Killian and Jung-hee Choi.
Hello, hello. Let's give another round of applause to John Kim. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Wendy Killian, the Executive Vice President here at Catalyst California.
So I'm going to do this.
And hello,
All right,
everyone.
And then you want me to put
I'm
hers
Jung-hee
too at the
Choi.
same time?
Some of you have
Okay.
maybe seen me around here over the years. That's because I've been to every single one of these events.
Which means I have been a part of Catalyst California as long as John has, because he started working here before we were married. That's right. I'm John Kim's wife. I'm also dear friends with Wendy Killian, who I became friends with when we started working together at Community Coalition many years ago. But neither of these things have anything to do with why I'm up here. And I'm definitely not up here because either of them made me do it. Seriously, I am standing up here because I've worked a lot with Catalyst over the years. As part of my own movement building work and social justice work with organizations like Power California in the House and the Million Voters Project in the House, which means I have direct experience working with Catalyst. So I'm up here not as a wife, not as a friend, but actually as a movement partner and major supporter of this amazing organization. And as much as I would love to dish and give you insights about John Kim's personal life and personal habits, wouldn't that be fun? That's actually not my purpose. I'm here to raise money for this incredible organization.
That's right. Jung-hee and I are here, and we appreciate you doing whatever it took for you all to be here tonight. And we're excited to be up here together as former colleagues and as she said, dear friends, to share a few stories about the power of solidarity and what makes Catalyst California unique, in the hopes of getting you to dig a little deeper into your pockets and help us close our fundraising gap. Our team tonight set an ambitious goal of raising $250,000. That's amazing, right? This wind has decided to pick up all of a sudden.
Thank God my hair looks still looks good.
Yeah, yours still look good. $250,000 was our goal. We have raised $225,000 tonight. Give yourselves a big round of applause. But we are high achievers at Catalyst California, and we want to close that gap, and we need your help to do it. So we are up here to do that part of the show where we ask you to help us raise $25,000. Jung-hee and I made a joke about which one of us was the good cop or the bad cop. You will be the ones to decide that. But I'm going to tell you how you can give tonight to help us close that gap. So everybody's got a fan out there, right? On the back of that fan is a QR code, and we've all been to bars and restaurants, so we all know. Scan that code, open up that link, and make a donation via credit card or Cash App. We also have staff around here who will take your money, your credit card number, or any other thing you want to give us to help us close that gap. So please raise your hand and help us do that. And now, Jung-hee is going to tell you why you should donate.
Thank you, Wendy. Okay, now that you know how to donate, let's talk about why you should donate, yeah? All right, I'm gonna give you 3 reasons in 3 rounds. I'm just laying it out for you on the journey, okay? Why you should give to Catalyst. That means I have 3 chances, you have 3 chances to support this amazing organization. Now, my 3 main reasons for why you should support Catalyst are because of 1, what they do, 2, how they do it, and 3, why they do it. So let's first talk about what they do, okay? Catalyst's work is so important. You've heard so many stories by the honorees as well as through the videos. They shine a light and bring critical attention to the inequities in our public systems and the communities most impacted by those inequities. Whether it's the harmful policing practices on Black and brown motorists, the lack of quality education for Californians' working families, or the inequitable distribution of public resources to our communities who need it most, Catalyst brings to light where racial inequity still exists, where the work is undone. They use rigorous research and innovative data tools like race counts to bring a spotlight where it's needed. But even more importantly than that, they go beyond just identifying the problems, right? They don't just say, hey, look over here, here's a problem, someone should go and fix it. No, they shine a light on community-driven solutions, right? And then they mobilize the resources, the political will, and the collective action to do something about it, right? They bring all the voices together, especially the community voices that are often left out to the table. So in this moment, where it feels like the world's got too many problems and not enough solutions, don't you agree we need a Catalyst, California? Yes!
So now that you know what we do, who wants to get us started and help us meet that fundraising goal? Let's see those fans out there. Who wants to be the first person to kick it off? This is a big deal. The very first person or family that wants to kick it off, or organization. All right, we have people donating on their phones. Raise your fans if you've donated on your phone. Monica Lozano back there donated. Katie Smith donated. Woo-hoo! Megan McClare donated. All right.
Megan, I see you, girl.
We see you. Who else out there wants to raise their flag? All right, the Ramos Harris family donated. Thank you. Okay, let's keep it going.
Okay, everyone, that was a good start. Okay, that was a great start. But for those of you who don't know me, I am a competitive person, which means I am someone who likes to win. It's what makes me a good organizer. It's also why my kids hate playing games with me, because I am merciless. I don't care that they're 10 or whatever their age. I'm also Korean, which means we can always do better, guys. So I know that we can, and we're going to do even better in this next round. This brings me to my second reason to give to Catalyst, which is because of how they do what they do. I have been in many coalition meetings, various strategy meetings with staff from Catalyst, California, John Dobard, Mike Rousseau, Jackie Guerrero, so many amazing staff, including John. Yes, it can get really awkward at times, guys. No matter which staff a person is in the meeting, I know that they will show up as a genuine partner, right? A lot of research and policy groups think they have all the answers. No offense, policy research groups. They think they are the experts, and they know better than grassroots community leaders and groups, but not Catalyst. They value and center the expertise and lived experiences of those directly impacted. And they understand that they are the partners to support community-driven solutions. Their job is to empower, to support, collaborate with communities, elected officials, and other stakeholders to drive systemic change. And whether it's Catalyst co-creating strategies or solutions to redesign systems to be more fair and just, or working with partners to mobilize resources and power, they always, always do it with deep integrity.
Yay! Okay, we've already raised almost $1,000, but we gotta keep going. So $24,000 more. Let's keep it going, and because we're running short on time, but we're gonna keep you here all night until we raise $25,000. Jung-Hee's gonna tell you the third reason why you should give.
All right, guys, this is your last chance. I really need everyone to be digging deep, right? 100% participation. I hope you'll give it, even if you've already given already. because I really would like to be able to go home tonight. Just joking. The third and final reason to support Catalyst is because of why they do this work. And this may be the most important reason of all, right? In these troubling times of deep divide, where we see instances, and so many, of humans destroying one another, whether we're talking about the Middle East or here at home in our deeply divided country, I found inspiration and hope in words by a Muslim actor, Riz Ahmed, who spoke so beautifully about the crisis in Gaza. And I'm paraphrasing when he said, "Underneath our differences, we all feel the same fear, joy, grief, and hope. And any stories that say that there is an us versus them, that some people aren't like us or aren't human, is just a lie." Right? Every day, Catalyst and their community partners work to challenge that version of that same lie that exists here in our city, in our state. They challenge the idea that there are those who are deserving and undeserving, that there are some who are meant to sleep soundly in their safety of their homes, while others sleep on our streets. There are some of our children are meant to have great schools that prepare them for unlimited futures, while others aren't, and that some deserve fair and just policing and criminal justice systems, while others are to be treated as criminals their entire lives. Every day, Catalyst fights to change this divide and to destroy this lie. Every day, Catalyst fights for one California, right? The one California that no matter where one comes from, how much they have in their wallets, or the color of their skins, every single Californian should live fully and equally with dignity and respect. Isn't that worth our support? Isn't that worth $10, $20, $100, $1,000, right? If you say yes, then help Catalyst build that one California today.
Yay, 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 yay. So I want to take a moment to, this is totally off script and they're already mad at me. Kirsten Liu and Amy Saucer led a team to get us to this event today. They're standing over here and I want you to recognize them. What's the number? In this room, in these last 5 minutes, we have raised $10,000 together. $10,000. So I guess this makes me the bad cop when I ask one more time, anybody else want to raise that fan and help us close that gap? Anybody out there? Oh, we got one out there, okay. Keep using that QR code to donate and help us close that gap. But thank you so much for your support tonight. We really appreciate you. Thank you. And as you're thinking about donating, let's give a big round of applause to our amazing MC tonight, Jessica Salgado.
Thank you so much, Wendy and Jung-hee, for that lively roundup of money. And I'm going to add on a little bit to it. I want to remind you all that we are in a position of privilege. To be able to be here together, to be able to donate, it is a privilege poured into the folks that can't. I grew up as a poor girl of refugee parents from El Salvador who would have never thought I would be able to get on a stage like this and speak in front of people like you. But the only reason why I've made it the way I've made it and I have the beautiful career that I have is for organizations like Catalyst for California. So think of all of the young folks in your life that benefit from equity, from diversity, from this kind of movement, and pour into them. It is a privilege to be able to give $10, $25, $30. So I ask you to rise to that privilege and that honor. So hopefully we can close that gap today. Just because they got off stage doesn't mean you're off the hook. We have you here. We have a bar. If you need to get liquid courage, there's a bar. And, you know, we'll see what we end up with at the end of the day. But thank you again so much. And another shout out that we're going to do is for Vox Productions. Please give it up for them. They've been killing it on top of everything. It is so hard to do an event out in the open when there's wind like we knew At the last event that we had, the wind was attacking us, but I consider the wind as something that comes and cleanses us. So we are being cleansed today, and we are starting something really beautiful together. And okay, now I'm gonna get off my soapbox. Okay. We're headed to the end of our time together. I know, womp womp, but still, take out your money. We have one last award. Are y'all ready? It is a Champion for Equity Award. LA County Board of Supervisor for District 3, Lindsay P. Horvath, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name, I should have asked first, is here to present the award to her colleague and I love that word, accomplice on the board. Welcome, Supervisor. We'll give him, oh, there you are.
Good afternoon. I have the distinct privilege and pleasure of introducing this evening's final award, and it is such a deserving one. But first, I want to congratulate Catalyst California on 10 years of activism, of power, of creating this amazing event. Let's give you all a round of applause. Your decades of advancing racial justice and fighting for equity in all aspects of our lives is unparalleled and truly transformative. Thank you for the leadership that you show. The Champion for Equity Award is given to those at the forefront of the movement for civil rights and racial justice. So I can think of no one better to receive this award than my colleague and my friend, Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell. A third-generation Angelino, a second-generation public servant, this work of equity is in her DNA. Every decision we make at the board, Holly is there to ensure we are making that decision through an equity lens, so much so that we have codified it as a county, and she is relentless in making sure that we use that lens in all of the work that we do. She will advocate and be tireless in her pursuit of equity, equity in resources for all districts, equity in services too. She stands for those who have no voice, who for years have been shut out of the halls of power, denied access to a seat at the table. Let's be real, Holly builds her own table and sets it accordingly. As a state legislator in both the Assembly and the Senate, she wrote landmark legislation such as the Crown Act, making California the first state in the nation to end hair discrimination. And she rose to the pinnacle of power as the first African American to serve as chair of the Senate Budget Committee. We know where priorities are, that is your value, and she has demonstrated those values time and again. As county supervisor, Holly passed a landmark countywide universal income program and made our county the first in the nation to phase out urban oil drilling. And I have been proud, yes, you can applaud that for sure. And since joining her on the board, I have been proud to stand with her in advancing an agenda of prevention. Often we talk about LA County as the social safety net to catch people when they fall, but we are committed to shifting the culture so people aren't falling in the first place. We not only have to shift the culture, but the institutions in which the work is done. And so we have also advanced transformation in governance. Look forward to how that change will be coming. I am honored, delighted, and humbled to present this award, the Champion for Equity Award, to my colleague and friend, Supervisor Holly J. Mitchell.
Good evening. First of all, I must be hanging out in the right places with the right people, because this is my third time in about a week and a half hearing the Freedom Singers. Friday night they tore it up at the Black Women's Health Imperative. At Yvonne's Poverty Alleviation Conference, I said, in my next life I'm going to sing like that, because in this life I was not so blessed. First of all, let me say thank you. When Molly and Connie and Steve really brought a new way of thinking about justice and turned the traditional impact litigation model on its head, we thank you, because that was the impetus to really thinking differently and moving differently for this city, and I deeply appreciate that. John just told y'all what we've been doing over there at the county, and I don't know that you should have said it, John, because now everybody knows how we are moving. So that's all I need, is another target on my forehead. And I deeply appreciate the partnership with Catalyst and the work that we've been able to do together. I get embarrassed in these kinds of events where my work is recognized, because from my perspective as an activist policymaker, this is what I'm supposed to do. And all of you in the room who are doing the serious heavy lift every day are the ones to be acknowledged and thanked, and I tip my hat to you deeply. As I sat and watched the videos, which were an amazing reflection of the work that Catalyst is doing, it occurred to me I wanted to say 3 things, and I'll keep it brief. Paulo Rodriguez taught me this concept of unfinished neighborhoods. And so I work every day to finish neighborhoods. That's why equity is so important. When we use the terminology underrepresented groups, underserved groups, we have this tendency to blame people who live in those communities for the conditions in which they're living. And nothing could be further from the truth. We, the collective we, policymakers, have not applied equity in our construction and support of every neighborhood. So we on Team Mitchell are working to finish neighborhoods across the 2nd Supervisorial District. Secondly, I'll just say that as we watch the video of the conversation, the infamous conversation that took place, I think it's important that we all remember that was but one conversation with one group of people over 2 years ago. Thank you, Yvonne. And the reason I say that is because those conversations happen all day, every day. I wish I could say I was surprised by it. I was not. And so the work I have chosen to do is to behave as if those conversations happen all day, every day, in private spaces and public spaces, and act accordingly. And so at Team Mitchell, we are engaging in something we call the Racial Justice Learning Exchange every month. And my point of raising it is it's easy to look at those people across the screen and wag our finger, but I'm hoping that all of us are going to do the work on an individual basis, very deeply personally, to check our own bias, however that manifests for you. Be it racial bias, be it economic bias, be it religious bias. The reality is we all have it, and the work we can do, privately and publicly, is to work to unpack that for ourselves. And so when I see that video, it is just a reminder for me that I too have work to do every day, that I move in and work in an anti-Black space every day. And so the work we all have to do, because I don't believe in sprinkling equity on top, we are baking it in. And so I'm hoping that whatever space you occupy, you will join with me in doing the same thing. Lastly, I will say, the day I had the privilege of taking this seat, this office, and There were a lot of people here in the room who supported me, and some of the people in the room who didn't, and I love you too. And you need to know that I am working my ass off on behalf of all of us every day. But the day I assumed this office, there was a little girl in South LA or unincorporated Florence Firestone who entered the first grade. And as my homeboy Jorge Nuno told me, you know, Holly, if you have the privilege of serving a full potential term, limited term, 12 years, by the time you leave office, she'll be graduating from high school. Think about that. Think about 12 years, what we can do. And so my commitment to all of you is that we are going to work to make sure that the county government shows up for her in a meaning and powerful way to improve the trajectory of her life through our county library system, through our juvenile justice system, through our public health system, through our mental health system, through the closure of Men's Central Jail, through improving Department of Child and Family Services, through the building and expansion of our Department of Youth Development, our Department of Economic Opportunity, through ending oil drilling as we know it in LA County, through our guaranteed income, the largest one of its kind in the country. Think about all the ways Catalyst, the organizations you run, county government, can step in the gap in her life and create opportunities that she or her family may have never imagined. So by the time she's graduated from high school, the sky is the limit for her. That is why I ran for public office the first time in 2010, because I intend to leave my home district better than I found it. I hope we can continue to partner, and I hope you do dig deep and give Catalyst some more money, because it's the organizing, it's the training, it's the showing up for elected officials like Catalyst has done and all of you have done to create partnerships, to create synergy, to create the kind of LA that we all want to raise our children in to thrive, and the rest of us want to grow old in with dignity. Thank you very much for today's honor. I'm humbled.
I wasn't ready for you to be so tall. So y'all, I have amazing news and I have bad news. Let me give you the bad news first. We're wrapping up. So I'm sad, but I've been told that we have reached 15,000 or should be reaching that by the time we wrap up. That's fantastic. That's amazing. Does somebody have $10,000 to give us before we leave? Some change in their pocket? If only, right? I'm gonna hit up all my exes and see if they want to give anything. I'll be like, if you love me, you love LA. But what an impressive, moving, and inspiring set of honorees. Like I said, I love my city. I love Los Angeles, and I love California. I am a product of this place, and I am so honored to see that this city is in such good and beautiful hands, that this state is in such big, beautiful hands. So again, let's give up a round of applause for everybody today. The honorees, Catalyst California team. It has been beautiful. Please stay and join us for coffee and dessert. But one last set of reminders. A huge round. I already said that. I'm ahead of my own. You know what? I'm so good at this that I'm just ahead of it. No, I'm kidding. It's an honor to have been here with y'all. It's been beautiful. It's been fun. Y'all look so good. Y'all look really, really good. The work of this organization is about all people. All of the staff, stand up and let's give you one last bit of love. To the folks at home, we hope you had a good time. We are so glad you could join us. Stay connected. Come back next year. This has been Jessica Salgado, and it's been an honor and a pleasure. Now, have some fun and hang out.